Hello and welcome to the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer with RealTime Fantasy Sports, joined by Logan Glaser of RT Sports as well. Logan, thanks for coming on the show as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jeff. Super Bowl
Well,
week.
it is Super Bowl week. We're going to do an all things Super Bowl show. We're going to give you all our thoughts on the games, the over-under. We're going to talk about pick'em plays, prop bets, fantasy players we like. You name it, we're going to talk about it, Logan. Should be a fun show. We have a lot to hit on, a lot of things you can do for the Super Bowl as well. It's always a great time of the year, in my opinion. Any big plans for you for the big game?
We're planning to have a Super Bowl party at our place, so have some friends
Nice.
over, watch the game. So should be good. How about you?
Sounds good. Yeah, I got some food I'm going to cook up. I'm a big smoker guy, so I'm going to smoke a pork butt, make some good food, have a few friends over. My kids are leaving me, though, going to their friends' houses. So they're at that age, but that's okay. But it should be fun. I always enjoy everything Super Bowl, the commercials, the food, the game itself.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves right now, though, is with the commercials. Not to go off on a tangent, they keep showing previews of the commercials. What have we come to? I mean, part of the fun is seeing these for the first time. Now we got to see previews of them all over the
Oh
place.
yeah, I totally agree with that. Usually it's the first time you ever see these commercials during the game, but yeah, over the last
Yeah.
couple of years, you've kind of seen teasers and see it elsewhere. But I saw it's going for $7 million per commercial.
Is that what it was this year? I didn't even know that. 7
$7 million.
million. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
I think we've got 4 running, during the Super Bowl, so that'll be, 28 million for us.
Right. Don't you better look at those quick because they won't be on there long. Holy cow. So before we get into all things Super Bowl, I wanted to briefly talk about our big contest, the Wager Wire postseason shootout, $100,000. It basically is down to 3 owners, Logan. So I'll bring up the board so everybody can see here. It's coming down to the top 3, in my opinion. Biscuit Head, who knew, in Avery Deuce. Biscuit Head has 459 points, 454 in second, and then 450 in third. 2 of the 3 teams have 4 players left, which is the max you can do at this point. And the second place team has 3 players left. So I think they're all alive for a chance to win it all. I like Biscuit Head's chances at this point. He has McCaffrey, Samuel, Rice, and Kelsey. The Who Knew team has McCaffrey, Pacheco, and Rice. So he has Pacheco compared to the first place team who does not. So that's his one differential, different player, I should say, than the first place team. So he can make up some ground there. And then Avery Deuce has Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, Pacheco, and Rice. So that third place team does not have Kelsey, but they have Purdy. So that could be the one X factor there for him to make a move and move up.
Yeah, I really think it's between teams 1 and 3. So team number 3, Avery Deuce, just needs at least 4 points from Purdy to, jump the second place team, Who Knew, as everyone else is the exact same, which we can think that he'll get at least 4 unless an injury happens
It's
with
true.
that. So it really comes down to those 2 teams. It's a 9-point difference, and they do have 2 players that are different. We've got Purdy and I believe Kelsey with that, or Purdy and Pacheco with that, and then Kelsey and Samuel. So, I mean, it's still up in the air because the team that's down 9 has Brock Purdy compared to another position player. And I would almost say Brock Purdy is a 9-point advantage over Deebo Samuel. So it's depending on who catches those touchdowns for San Francisco. So I think it's a complete toss up between those 2 teams.
I agree. It's going to come down to the wire. Crazy things happen all the time in these games. I know in past years it's come down to like the last play sometimes, but because it's so close with the points with these, because there's not a whole lot of different players you can take compared to the regular season where it can be a bigger margin of victory, in my opinion. But in this, I think it's so close. Every game, every yard, every touchdown matters. So should be a lot of fun. You can actually follow along on that leaderboard as well. It is posted on our page, so you can look at that. If you look under the TFC, there's a section there for the postseason shootout. You can click on that if you want to keep up with that on there. So that is the Wager Wire postseason shootout, $100,000. Good luck to those teams still alive and kicking. Like you said, it probably comes down to the first and third place team, which is Biscuit Head and Avery Deuce. So good luck to those guys. Should be a lot of fun keeping track of that. All right, Logan, let's get into the game first of all, just the nuts and bolts of it. It's 49ers, Chiefs, 47 and a half for the over-under. Chiefs are +2. It's basically a pick 'em in my opinion. So it's going to be a close game. 47 and a half. That's a pretty big number too. First thoughts overall on the over-under. What do you think in there? Do you like over-under?
So I think I'm going to go with the over just because I don't trust San Francisco's defense that much. I think that San Francisco is one of the best offenses, especially when Purdy is on. But their defense really lacks compared to like Kansas City, which they've got a great passing defense, but their rushing defense also lacks. So I think if San Francisco stays heavy on the ground, that a lot of points will be scored in this game. So I'm going to go with the over 47 and a half for that total.
I don't know what I want to do here. It's such a close number. I mean, both the 49ers defense has actually not been playing as well lately. I actually think the Chiefs defense has been playing better. I, I guess I'll go with the over, but I'm not confident in that. That's one I might steer clear of. I just think it's a tough call. I think it's going to be really close to that number. I think Vegas has done a great job in setting that line, which is why it's such a tough call in my opinion, but I'll go with the over, but it's not a confident one. So how about the game now? You think the Chiefs, 49ers, who you think is going to win there? Because basically,
Yeah. So
whoever you pick, it's probably not going to be a 1-point game or 2-point game.
no, I think that
It's
I
gonna be
mean this is going to be a very close game. In my opinion, I think this can go either way. Who gets the ball last? Who commits stupid penalties, turnovers with that? But I'm actually going to go with San Francisco and have them have
okay.
a revenge game with that. I know you got your Chiefs shirt on, and
I do.
I don't know if you can support. I can't support them here in St. Louis, but but I do think San Francisco gets this done, gets their first Super Bowl since I believe 1995 with that. So it's been a long time coming. Their just offense is just too good with the playmakers that they have, fully healthy on offense with their playmakers. Again, a big question mark is their defense. Their defense has not been great. The last 6 games, they've given up 24 points per game. Um, Again, Chiefs offense is also a little bit hit or miss with so many drops by their wide receivers, but Pacheco's been a lot better on the ground. So I do think it's going to be a close game, but I think I'm still going to San Francisco.
I'm going with the Chiefs. I am wearing my Chiefs gear. You're correct there. I think it's going to be a close game. I'll say 27-24 for the final. So that's what, 51 points. So that hits that mark there just barely. I think it'll be a close game. I just trust that defense more for the Chiefs at this point. Steve Spagnuolo has done a tremendous job with that unit, and I think they're going to squeak it out. I think the experience factor is going to play a big part in this game as well. Mahomes has been there, done that. We've seen that in the playoffs. He's been tremendous. The receivers, which have been an issue throughout the season, but the drops have been better during the playoffs, so that's a plus. Travis Kelce looks great. The defense looks good, and I think it's going to come down to the QB play. And am I going to pick Mahomes or Brock Purdy? I don't trust Purdy still. I know he played good his last time out 2 weeks ago. I should say it wasn't last week, but I just trust Mahomes more. I think the Chiefs win 27-24. Should be a great game. Here's a little story about this jersey though. This is actually let's see if you can see it.
Oh, Jeremy Maclin.
Jeremy Maclin. So
Throwback.
so I coached him one game in high school. I used to coach high school baseball at Kirkwood High School, and he played baseball his freshman year, and we called him up. I coached the JV team to help us out, and so I coached him. I like to say that I'm the reason he made it so far. No,
Absolutely.
not really. But I seriously think if he would have stuck with baseball, which he didn't, which is understandable, he could have been a player there too. And he was extremely raw, but man, he was talented, crazy. So I like the Chiefs. I like Jeremy Maclin. So
That's a
shout
cool
out
little
to
story.
Jeremy.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's my only brush with fame there. All right, let's talk about some pick'em plays now, Logan. We talked about the game. We have all sorts of different options here at RealTime Fantasy Sports. I'll bring up the screen for you so you can see it. Everybody out there, you can see all the different plays there. I'll scroll for you. Logan and I are going to pick a few that we really like, so you can put them to use if you would like. I mean, you can do anything you want. You can pick. You have to pick at least 2 players, but you can pick 5 if you want to try to win more money. You can bet anything you would like also. So it's a lot of fun if you've never done it, Logan. I highly suggest giving it a shot, especially for the big game, make watching it a little more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can win up to 40 times your entry fee with that too, going 6 for 6. There's also a pick or play option to the right with that, where you can pick who will have more. Like, for example, Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes. Purdy's given a 3.5 point boost with that, 3.3. So you can go ahead and add that to your slip as well. We got NBA picks there, golf, NHL, soccer with that. So I do think that's an interesting one, the Purdy versus Mahomes. I kind of think that's why he
It
has a
is. I agree.
I do think Chiefs have a much better secondary than San Francisco, which would make you want to go Mahomes, but then that 3.3 boost for Purdy. And if you look at like recent games, Purdy's been a lot better than Mahomes in
Yeah,
terms of fantasy.
Mahomes has not put up a lot of scores. That's a close one. That'd be tough. So let's talk about some pick and plays we like. So I'll bring up the screen again, and you can give me your first play that you like. What are you targeting?
Yeah, first one, I'm going to go less for Christian McCaffrey, 27.3 fantasy points. I just think that is an outrageous amount for fantasy, which he's hit it in the last two playoff games, but he's also had 2 touchdowns in both of those games. You're essentially needing 130 yards plus 2 touchdowns to get that 27.5 fantasy points with that. And for McCaffrey to get 2 touchdowns in this game, he's plus 245 with that. So instead of going with over on that, I would much feel comfortable taking, if you wanted to go over, I'd much rather take 2 touchdowns for McCaffrey with that than going his over on those fantasy points. That's just probably the highest fantasy points I've seen for a position other than quarterback.
That's a big fantasy point total. I agree with you there. I'm not sure I could go with over there. You never know with Christian McCaffrey, but man.
Yeah, for sure. If there's anyone to do it, it's absolutely him.
Yep. So one of the plays I like is Travis Kelce more than 69.5 receiving yards. He has 70 plus yards, 71 plus yards, all three of his playoff games, coming off arguably his best game of the season. His last time out had double-digit catches. He looks tremendous right now. 49ers also, they've struggled to stop the tight end lately. They did that last week. 2 weeks ago, again, I keep saying last week, but Sam Laporta, he racked up the catches and yards in that matchup. He had 8 catches, I believe, for 90 plus yards. So I like Kelce's chances to go over 69.5 receiving yards. It's a pretty good number for a tight end, but man, Mahomes loves them. So that's what I'm hitting for that. You got another pick and play, Logan?
Yeah, next one I'm going to go with is Rashee Rice over 66.5. Again, I do think this is a pretty weak secondary for San Francisco. Rice is there at 66.5 near the top with that, 6.5 receptions. So I like the over on that. He has gone under that in the last 2 games, but he had 8 receptions against Baltimore last week. They've been targeting him. Before those 2 games, though, he went 130 against Miami, 127 against Cincinnati. He's had several games in the hundreds of yards with that. So I do like going Rice over on his total.
That I like that call. He gets a lot of looks. I'm going to pick another under for you. So a lot of times we don't talk about the unders, but I like Brandon Ayuk less than 59.5 receiving yards. Ayuk has failed to hit that mark two of his last 3 games. He has just 3 catches each of his last 3 games. And this opened at 61.5, if I'm not mistaken. So that means a lot of people are going with the under, which is why the lines moved. So I think a lot of people are piling up that under the less line for Brandon Ayuk in this matchup, and I can see why. You never know with him. It's not a sure thing by any means because he's an explosive player. He's very talented. He's had a great year, but I like Brandon Ayuk less than 59.5 receiving yards. Do you have any more, Logan, or you good?
So my last one is going to be George Kittle over 49.5. I just think there's going to be so much attention on Debo and Ayuk that Kittle can get open with that. At 49.5, that's just a couple receptions. Kittle would need to hit that. Against Green Bay, he had 81 yards. He's had a couple of games in the hundreds of yards as well and only hitting 49. I think it's very easy to turn your attention to stopping Christian McCaffrey in that backfield and Kittle getting out of there. And also you got Debo and Ayuk on the side. So I like Kittle.
I like Debo Samuel. So I like the combined bet for him, which is 79.5 rush receiving yards. I like more than that. He had 11 touches his last game. I think some people thought a shoulder injury would be a concern, but man, he got a ton of looks. He's going to get a lot of looks again in this matchup. It's obvious that Brock Purdy has a great connection with him because he loves to look his way. So I like his chance to just rack up double-digit targets. If he does that, he's going to hit that mark easy, in my opinion, 79.5 rush receiving yards. So I'm going with more than 79.5 rush receive yards for Deebo Samuel. All right, Logan, those are the prop bets we're looking at. Again, go to rtsports.com, click on that daily link there at the top of the page, and you can get in all the action there, see everything. Pick them here. We have daily games too, which are a lot of fun. Also, we have a couple free rolls this week too, Logan. I'll bring those up so people can see them. So we have all different options as well. It's not loading for me right now, unfortunately, but we have a lot of different stuff. There it is. So we have a lot of different options, different price points. You can see the different entries and whatnot for the NFL for this week. So you want to get in DFS, it's a good time to do that as well. It just makes watching the game a little more interesting.
Yep, totally agree.
All right, Logan, let's talk about now some prop bets. It's always a lot of fun to do these prop bets. There's all sorts of different ones. I mean, you can do coin toss winner, coin toss. I'm not doing that type of stuff. That's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, it makes the game watching a lot more interesting and
It
has like
does.
a little action involved with it. But again, if you're doing these bets, you're probably wanting to put $1,
Yeah,
just something small
exactly.
on it. So I wouldn't mind doing something small on like little stuff like that. But again, I don't think you're going to be wasting 10% of your bankroll on the color of the Gatorade.
Yeah, that was going to be my one question for you. That was my first one. Color of the Gatorade bath. So you got purple at plus 225, blue at plus 275, yellow green plus 450, red pink plus 450, orange plus 500, clear water plus 1,000, no Gatorade plus 2,000. So right now the money's on the purple. Do you have any thoughts on this if you had to pick?
If I had to pick one, I'd probably go yellow green. I feel like that's just a classic, and it's at plus 450 out of those. So third on the list. I just feel like that's the classic. Whenever I think of Gatorade, that is the color I kind of think of.
Yeah, I think of orange when I think of Gatorade too. So I might pick that. That's plus 500. I mean, I'm sure there's numbers they have of what the color has been the most of in recent years. I'm sure that type of information's out there, but uh yeah, that's what I'm going with. I like orange at plus 500. So that's our Gatorade bet for Logan and I. So that's what we like. I like this one. I thought it was kind of interesting. First team to call a timeout. It's basically a pick 'em. But any thoughts on that? I think that'd be a fun one to maybe pick.
Yeah, I don't know if you have really an edge on that. You could, I guess, go back and look at first half timeouts by each of the teams throughout. It kind of comes down to if there's like almost a delay of game and you just take a timeout to save that, or who's got the ball at the end of the first half and you want to consume time. I
I
mean,
think
I'll just go with the Chiefs just to put something on that.
I would go with the Chiefs too because I feel like sometimes they get their play calls in late. So that's one way I would look at it. And also, both these coaches do a good job of managing the clock and stuff like that. So it makes it even harder as well. But I'll go with the Chiefs for this if I had to pick one. Again, it's kind of a pick 'em. So uh, that's who I like for first time out. All right. Another one I kind of like total yards gained on first play. It's set at 3.5. You think it's going to be over 3.5 or under 3.5? First play of the game. So that's not the kickoff,
Yeah,
but the first
I'm
play.
going with over 3.5. I think I don't know if it, I guess I'd be running if I had Christian McCaffrey. I think they're going to run. I think Kansas City will pass on their first play, just to ease into the game. With that, get your star player the first touch in those games with either Mahomes or McCaffrey, which I would take the over on both of those, getting at least 3.5.
These teams are scheming all week to come up with the great opening drive. The first play of the game is going to be a good one. I don't know if it's going to work, but they're going to come up with something that could hit big. So I would go with over 3.5 there. I think that's a bet that would be pretty good. And here's another one I like a lot, and it's not paying great odds, but it's Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown. It's minus 220, but I think that's a no-brainer. You got to take that. You're not
Yeah,
getting
I
much
think he's
for your
definitely going to
buck.
find the end zone for sure.
Yeah. I
One
like
that I really like with McCaffrey, it's a long shot, which is fine, but most receiving yards in the game, McCaffrey's at plus 1,800.
it.
Um,
Ooh,
that is just a very high plus 1,800 for McCaffrey to have the most receiving yards. Um, so his over under right now is set at 30 for receiving yards or 40 for receiving yards. The next closest to that, I mean, the highest is Travis Kelsey on the slate at 69.5. So, I mean, he's not that far off with that. And all it takes is a couple of dump offs and break a couple tackles, and he can easily hit that. So, I really like that at plus 1,800.
that's an interesting one. I did not see that, but yeah, that's definitely worth a shot there. That's a good call there because he definitely has the potential to do that. So
Absolutely.
another one I kind of find intriguing. First interception of the game. There's several players listed: Mike Edwards, Tashawn Gibson, L'Jarius Sneed, Travarius Ward, Jair Brown, Diamador Lenore as well. The best odds are Gibson and Edwards at plus 900. They think they're have the best chance to get it. You got so what do you think there? Any of those guys stand out to
I
you?
would probably go with someone on the Chiefs defense with Brock Purdy on the
Agreed.
other side. Again, Mahomes does have actually a decent amount of interceptions on the year. I actually think he's kind of near the lead of interceptions, mainly towards tip balls and everything like that. But still, I'm going to go with someone on the Chiefs with that. I might go with Mike Edwards on that, just with the favorite. But L'Jarius Sneed at plus 1,000 on that is worth a shot.
Yeah, the only thing with Snead is they kind of shy away from him because he's such a good
They
corner.
do.
I think that
They
kind of
sure
makes
do.
the sense that he's not as favored, but I would probably pick him if I had to pick somebody. And so we'd be remiss if we did not talk about Taylor Swift. So, so one of the props was, will Travis Kelsey propose to Taylor Swift on the field after the game? It's plus 1,060 yes, minus 3,000 no. So any
So,
thoughts on
first of
that?
all, they would have to win the game.
That's
Um,
true. There's a
so
lot
that
going
they
on
have
there.
to win the game for that to happen. But honestly, it could happen just because of everything that has been going on between them. And I do think it's a little bit early. I mean, they've probably been dating
Yeah,
for
we
4
don't know
months.
how long they've been dating because they've kept it kind of secret. It may have been going on longer than people have thought, but you're right. It hasn't been a year, so
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be kind of soon. I would hedge towards no, just because they've kind of kept it kind of private as well. So I'm not sure he would do that in front of
Yeah. It
everybody.
is the biggest stage, but I don't know if either one of them is ready to be tied down, especially if Travis Kelsey does continue football career with that. Uh,
Exactly.
so
Just what everybody wants: hard hitting Taylor Swift analysis from Logan and I on here. Great stuff. So, any other prop bets you want to talk about before we move on, Logan?
One that I kind of like is, will there be a successful 2-point
Oh,
conversion?
okay.
So right now it's at plus 260. There's been a 2-point conversion that's been successful in 3 of the last 7 Super Bowls. I just feel like during like the Super Bowl, there's a better chance to have a 2-point conversion, whether it's a team chasing or trying to put extra points on the board, just compared to a normal game. So I do like going yes on that, just because it has hit 3 of the last 7 years with that, and at plus 260 odds. I like it. So
I like that too. Yeah, you got to know about the coaches too. Andy Reid will go for two, a little more than some coaches as well. So
yeah, and
kind of intriguing.
Moody has not been a very good kicker as
No,
well for
he is
San
not.
Francisco, so you might wanna go for 2 with that instead of, because I mean, he's missed several extra points. So
If you have to pick, I don't know what the odds are on this because I don't have it in front of me, but how about Super Bowl MVP? You're picking the 49ers to win. So who are you going with for the Super Bowl MVP?
I think I would go with Christian McCaffrey, even though I was going under his points. I
Makes
think if
sense.
he gets 100 plus yards, he will get MVP. I just think so more than Purdy with that, but so I would go Christian McCaffrey. I believe Purdy has better odds though to win. I believe McCaffrey's around plus 450 with that. So that's who I would go with.
You like McCaffrey? I can't bet it against Mahomes, although I think Kelsey's going to have a big game, but it seems like the QB wins more often than not. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, you could. if you want to take chances on Super Bowl MVP, you want to pick like a defensive player stuff. That's happened before. So
Yep. It's
that's one.
completely different than like a regular season MVP
Yeah.
where QB's going to win it almost every single time.
Yeah.
Even if someone has 2,000 yards, say Tyreek Hill at that, he still probably wouldn't win MVP. It would go to quarterback. But yeah, in one of these games, it can easily be a pick six that wins it.
That's
Get
what
MVP
happened.
with that.
It was like 5-6 years ago. I can't remember who did it. One
Did
cornerback.
Malcolm Butler win MVP with that?
He might have. It was a more obscure player, and then he cashed in on a huge contract in the next season, and he wasn't any good. I can't remember who it was.
Let's see. I'm
You
pulling it
might
up.
be able to pull it up for us. While you're doing that, I'm going to dive into fantasy players we like for this week. I'll go first while you're looking for that. If you find it, you can let me
I
know.
found it.
Who is it?
Von Miller had it when the Broncos won.
Oh, Von Miller. No, I was thinking it was a defensive back. There's not a defensive back. I thought maybe somebody for the Raiders.
Malcolm Smith. Um,
I don't know. Maybe he
if
didn't.
it
Maybe
was a
he
while
just
ago. Those are
he
just the
might.
recent ones.
Yeah, he might have just had a big game and didn't win MVP and cashed in on a big deal. Regardless, so all right. I digress. All right, let's talk about fantasy players we like. I'll go first. One guy I really like this week, we didn't mention him in any prop bets or anything, is Isaiah Pacheco. He's really been getting a lot more work. He has 20 plus carries 2 of his last 3 games. I think giving him a bigger workload has really evened out this offense, kind of has it clicking on all cylinders. 49ers have not been good against the run lately either. 182 rushing yards allowed to the Lions their last game. They've allowed 135 plus rushing yards each of their last 2 games. So if Pacheco gets 20 plus carries here, I think he could do some damage. I like him to have a big fantasy game here. Anybody that stands out for you?
Yeah, well, I talked to him about him in my over under pick, but Rashee Rice. I really think he has a really good game against a weaker secondary for San Francisco with that. Again, he's projected 66.5 receiving yards, second highest on the slate, just 3 yards behind Travis Kelce. So I would not be surprised if he does lead receivers, even though I'm going to put that McCaffrey bet in at plus 1,800. So I do like Rice in this game.
So I'll give you a sleeper too, maybe somebody more obscure, so somebody that comes up big in these crucial games that you don't expect. But I kind of like MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I know Sky Moore might return, Jerick McKinnon might return, so I could cloud things for him a little bit. But Valdez-Scantling actually played a season high 83% of the snaps last game. So he was on the field a ton. If he's on the field that much in this game as well, I like his chances to make a few big plays. So he could be a guy flying under the radar that could do well. He had 2 catches for 38 yards and that game clinching catch in the game their last time out. And also, I think his over underline for the pick'em was like 19. So I'm hitting the over on that all day as well. I don't think we have that one up on our site as a play, but I saw it on another option there. But I like MVS for sure to get a couple catches in this one.
Yeah, another player to bring up that just with recent news is Kadarius Toney. Do you think he's going to play, and will he get any action? Will he have any receptions?
I mean, he went on that rant on Twitter, and I don't think it's going to help his chances to even play. I'm not sure he plays. So I have
Yeah,
no
I'm kind of
faith
the
in
same
him.
way, especially with Sky Moore coming back.
Yeah, I trust Moore a lot more than I do Tony.
Yeah, which Moore is actually plus 1,000 to score a touchdown. I believe he had a Super Bowl touchdown last year with that,
Oh,
which was his first touchdown. So I don't mind that. I would like Sky Moore at plus 1,000 to score a touchdown.
yeah. I like those anytime TDs. They're fun to take a chance on some of those more obscure players because they can pay off. So Sky Moore for an anytime touchdown. I like that, Logan. All right, Logan, that's our Super Bowl preview show. We went over everything you can name of prop bets, DFS options that you might want to consider because of their good fantasy play, pick 'em plays. We talked about the postseason shootout, wager wire $100,000 postseason shootout down to basically 2 players, but 3 of them are kind of in the running. So good luck to them. It should be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it lives up to the hype because it should be a good one. So
Great.
Logan, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. Always a lot of fun talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jeff.
All right, everybody out there, enjoy the game this week. It should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you have a safe and happy Super Bowl Sunday. Should be a good one. Good luck, everybody out there. If you're playing anything, in any fantasy games this week. Hope you have a lot of success as well. This has been Jeff Paur with Real Time Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.